Hello, hello, hello. Let's get started. We are going to cover the best options trade ideas for the week. We are going to go through the SPY, talk about macro market conditions and how they will affect our trades. But most importantly, we're going to walk through how we are going to make money trading this market this week because it will be a very exciting couple of weeks, in my opinion. Just to start it off, we had a lot of volume flow in here, and we are going to dive into it in just a second. If you just joined the stream, welcome. Please introduce yourself. If you're from the Discord, tag your username. If you're not, just type new in the chat. By the end of this, if you are new, for those of you that typed new, we are going to give out some free stuff here at the end of the stream. So make sure you type new so you get thrown into that pool. We will be picking from the comments and seeing exactly who gets what. So crack the neck so we can get started. How y'all doing this week? Let's see. I only see one comment. Come on now, introduce yourselves. If you're from Discord, type your name in there so we know who you are. If you're new, just type new in the chat and you will be thrown into a lottery and win something at the end of this stream. We'll be giving some extended access, some insights, some extras, and some fun stuff to all of those that do not know who we are. And by the end of the stream, you're going to know exactly how to trade the SPY this week. You're going to have a couple of options trade ideas that you would have hopefully never even thought of, and they will blow your mind so much you maybe even crap your pants. But we are going to also cover a few trading strategy techniques that I think are exponentially important in this options market, even more so than they have been in the past. And then we're going to talk small cap trade ideas. So by the end of the stream, you'll be walking away with opportunities to make money for the rest of the week, possibly even the rest of the month. Let everybody get a second to filter in here. Drop your comment. What's going on? You got Amy, Gator, LT, Nikki. You got Dreg. We got Billy, Devastator, Dave G, Jacob C. What's going on, guys? How you living? How you living? Again, if you're in Discord, type your name. If you're not, just type new in the chat and you might win something. If you're not feeling lucky today, you should, because it is your lucky day. And basically, that's about all the time we need to get started. So let's get started. So for those of you interested in trading the SPY, and let's do one more in the chat here, guys. Are you more interested in options or equities? Let's see some comments flood in there. Let's see what you guys are interested in so I know how to best use our time. I know a lot of you like options. Let's see if anybody's interested in trading equity setup, specifically small caps, because there are just, and there we go. We got a new one. So stick around for the stream at the end. If you're the only new guy or the only one that types new in the chat, then you just won yourself a membership, my friend. You will get a full trading education course. You will get daily alerts. You will get insight, trading strategy, one-on-one help, everything you could ever dream of, all in one place, my friend. So stick around and make sure you're on the stream for when we go through it. I'd say probably about 7:45 we'll get into that. So make sure you hang around until then in case you are the winner. What's going on, guys? It's Steven. We got some regulars up in here. We got some regulars. I love that. All right, Antoine Robinson. Hello, Robertson. Excuse me. Hello. Make sure you stick around to about 7:30, 7:45, and we will be doing the giveaway. I'd love to get you guys in a free membership and get you set up so that you can know exactly how to trade this week and know exactly how to trade every day, because that's exactly what we do for you. Why wouldn't you want a team of experts at your back telling you exactly what was going on? All right, so let's talk SPY first. Let's zoom in here so you guys can get a little better idea of what we're looking at. So we've got the daily chart pulled up here. We're looking at the last couple of months dating back to about May. The SPY is looking absolutely delightful. For those of you that haven't been on the stream, all of these lines have been there for a while. So we have literally traded these ranges up and down and made a ton of money, and we're going to continue to do that. So as we talked about last week, when we were trading right about here, we were looking for that test of 378.90. We wanted to stay above there. Remember, we grabbed those calls on the rejection of 378.90. I believe we said 370. Was it 378.50 was what we were looking at. So we were a little off, but we still got it. And we saw massive volume come in here. So as you always know, I've said this many a times. If you didn't know, Steve, another new guy, welcome, my friend. Stick around till about 7:45 when we do the giveaway, so we can get you all set up, my friend. For those of you that haven't heard it before, you know, we always talk about volume always precedes a change in price. And so what that means is that basically when we see volume inflow, then we know that a change in price is coming. We don't know if it's up or down, and we have to look at the chart and understand the technicals to really get that. But what matters is that we know a move is coming so that we can plan both sides of the equation, both up and down. We want to always have a bullish trade and a bearish trade planned so that we're never caught with our pants down, getting beaten to death by the market. We have to be prepared in that way. And if you haven't been prepared in that way in your trading, by the time we're done with this, you will understand exactly why that's so important. So as we're looking at this chart here, we can see that we got that rejection. We got strong bullish movement up to 392. We had a nice, $12, $13 move, came back down to test support 382. And then we saw a very strong day on the 16th. That is important. This volume inflow, if you look at it relative to the rest of the trading sessions since just about June, we did not see this kind of volume uptick all summer. It was gone. It's gone, 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 gone. And then we started to see some volume inflow come back in spurts around winter, call it November, December. But then we sold off. People got scared. Volume dwindled to nothingness. Lowest it's been in quite a while. But we've seen it slowly start picking up over the last week or two, which tells me that we are probably setting up for a nice run here if we can hold above 393. So I want you to make this first line on your chart. If you don't have a notepad, guys, I would get one out or get your chart up so that you can mark this as we go along. I want you guys to have all the information you need to trade it. We got another one new. Steve Brownlee, my friend, welcome. Make sure you stick around to about 7:45 when we do the giveaway. You are in the pot now. If you're new, make sure you type new in the chat. If you're from the Discord, type your username in the chat so that we know who's in it and who's not. So why is this important? This is important because everyone has been concerned about this whole banking bailout nonsense and whether it would truly affect the market and basically be, will it walk us into not a depression, excuse me. Will it walk us into our next recession? Now, it's a good question. And for anyone to say that they know that answer is absolute BS. Anybody who says they know exactly what's going to happen is lying to you. Just so you know, it's ignorance. We don't know, but what we can do is plan for the two most likely scenarios, and we are right 50% of the time. But once we see this move happen, we're right 100% of the time, which is a beautiful thing. If you trade with us, you're going to have all the information ahead of time so that you can make the right trade to make your money and get something out of this market, man, because at the end of the day, that's the point of this, is to make some money. So again, we're trading a little more tightly in this range. We found support at 378.91. That's going to be the first line you throw on there. That's your support, bottom of range. We're going to keep this very simple for those of you that are new. I do not like 1,000 lines on the chart. We're not going to overcomplicate this. We're going to keep it very simple, very straightforward, so the newest of new in terms of traders can understand this. The best way to trade options, in my opinion, is to identify ranges, simply bottom and top, understand that range and trade that range and make money and do it again and again, wash, rinse, repeat. These are trades that, if you can see, we started load up on calls here when we tested support. We traded almost a $40 move. If you'd have held the same calls, it's like 400 or 500%. Puts came in when we hit resistance here. We traded it back down to here. We waited right here until we got the support touch. Then we traded it back up. That's another 50 to 100% right there if you held the trade. If you took them as day trades, then you had a couple of compounding 20 to 30% wins. This is important because the name of the game here, guys, if you're trading options, is staying in the game. That's the most important part for anyone at any time. If you have no capital to fight with, if you have no dry gunpowder, then you are not going to fire that gun. You're not going to make any money, and you're just going to walk away with your tail tucked between your legs, and you're going to be depressed. I don't want you to be depressed. I'm going to teach you how to do this the right way. I'm going to be very, very, very blunt with you and tell you the truth, because that's what you deserve. That this is not for everyone, not because everyone can't do it, but because most people aren't willing. They aren't willing to be honest enough with themselves to do it the right way. They aren't willing to exercise the discipline to do it successfully, which is dumb, because you can literally install a cash machine in your front room of your house, right next to your computer, that you're withdrawing from every week. If you do this right, you can simply take the money you make at work and you can put that money to work, and then it goes and it meets other money and it makes little money babies, and you become richer. That's how you build wealth. If you're having to work for every dollar that you're getting, I'm sorry, but it's going to be a long road to get there. But if you work for every dollar you get and then you send that money to work and that money starts working for you and the cash machine starts printing, that's how you walk away from this in 10 years with a significantly different lifestyle, a comfort that you could never, ever, ever have imagined. This is the single greatest, in my opinion, and easiest way to compound your cash, to build wealth and make money over the long term, if, big if, you just follow a couple of simple rules and you exercise a little bit of discipline. Again, it's not that it's extremely difficult. It's actually quite simple. It's not that it's extremely complicated. It's actually rather simple. However, it is difficult, but only because most people lack the discipline, they lack the self-honesty, and they lack the support, which we have in the Discord. Again, if you're not in it, make sure you join it, because that's where you're going to find your fellow band of misfits that will trade alongside you, support you, and help you grow as a trader so that you can start making money in this market. If you don't have that, you're going to suffer. So here we are. We tested. Again, we're going to draw these two lines first. For those either new, mark these on your chart or get out a pen and paper and write them down so you can mark them when you get to your computer, get to your phone, and mark these on your chart. You need to know this range. You cannot miss this. 378.90 and then 394. That's bottom and top. We saw a strong bullish push up. We got bearish here a little bit. We came back down to about as low as 388.20. And then we really started to open up and push back up. Let's go to the hourly so we can get a better idea of how the day played out. We pushed above, and then in after hours, we found a new high, right? So we moved very quickly through this zone right here, downside. Why is that important? Thank you, my friend. Definitely hit the like button. Definitely hit the like button. I should see 50 likes on this video. Let's go. Come on. Support a brother. Why is that important? Why is it important for us to know that we moved very quickly through a particular range? How do we use that information in the future? Anybody? Type it in the chat. Let's see what you guys have learned so far. Nobody? Why does this matter? Why does the price flowing through a particular range very quickly, why is it information that we need to know if we're going to continue to trade this same ticker? It's extremely important. I just want to see if any of you know why. There you go. Sergeant Brando nailed it, because it is very likely that the price moves quickly through this range again when we reach this range. And as you can see here, it started on this breakout right above 389, and we pushed all the way to 395 in the after hours. So this moved another $6, right? Which is big for the SPY. Same thing again, quick move up here and then a quick sell off here, which means that this range that we're looking at right here from about 389 down to 383, quick mover, and then 389 to about 397, quick mover. So again, that would be something I think would be worth it putting in your notes. It's going to move quickly through those ranges. Why does that matter? Because if you're trading options and they start moving quickly in the wrong direction, you will quickly learn a very expensive lesson. And I don't want that to happen to you, nor does it need to happen to any of you. As long as you stay on this stream and you follow these very simple directives that we give you, that's not going to happen to you. So we came down in our trading session, and I would say we found support 389. We came a little lower, but we found support 389. That is important because, as you can see, we've got now, if you look at this chart right here, right across the middle, we're starting to identify a new range, right? And what we want to see is for this range to get validated, ideally tomorrow in the trading session. We want to see this same support get touched, bounce, rejection off of support, meaning a bullish rejection off the bottom. We want to see that happen. I'm going to draw it out so that you guys can get a good idea. So what we want to see tomorrow is this open up. We want to see a test of this support and a strong rejection. It doesn't have to be midday. I'm just saying we want to see a push up. We want to see it test this support. We want to see a rejection, and then we want to see price flow back to the upside. Now, if it does continue to flow to the upside, let's do a different scenario here. Let's say hypothetically that we open up kind of weak and then we come down for a support test. This is our opportunity to buy calls. Now, mind you, add a note. When we buy these calls right here, we need to be on top of this trade. You cannot let this shit sit. You cannot let it ruminate. You need to pay attention, because if we break below the support and we can't get back up, we're probably coming back down to 386. So when we load up on these calls on that support test, we are betting that it is going to hold its support. If it doesn't, we quickly cut bait. We hit the stop loss. We get out of the trade, and then we trade to the downside. Very simple. You just have to be willing to flip the car around. Does that make sense? I just want to pause there. Does that make sense? And are there any questions related to what we just talked about? I will hold for a moment. Does that make sense, guys? Type it in the chat. Please let me know. You got to communicate with me. Communicate with me. Does that make sense? A. And B, do you have any questions related to those 2 or 3 moves that we just discussed for the open of SPY and the trades we're going to take? Blocky got a yes. Duco, we got a yes. Okay, good. Is anybody confused by that or needed explained again? Oh, this is a great question. So that pivot point would be right around 389 and change. It's either going to be 389 and change. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. It's either going to be 389 and change, or let's do this. Actually, that makes the most sense. Or it's going to come down 388.54. I would say that's where I'm really. Ooh, or is it going to be dicey? And is it going to test top of previous range? Let's see if we got some confluence here. So support touch there. We got resistance, 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 support, resistance, resistance, breakthrough, and then resistance. Yep, I like that a lot. So, do you guys see this on the chart right here? I'm going to zoom in so you can see it very, very, very closely. I'm going to make the bottom one a little bit thicker. We're going to make this one red for resistance. So to go through that again quickly, we are either going to see a weak open and a support test. Here are the 2 scenarios. You need to write this down. Write this down, draw this on your chart, take a note. Nick, hey Nikki, if you're here, can you timestamp this for me? So it's like 17 minutes. Can you just like write the time and then a quick note of what we talked about? Because I want to be able to cut this up to get it out tonight for everybody that couldn't be here. If you got that, just type it in the chat. Thank you. So these are the scenarios that we were watching very, very closely. What I'd like, this is my best case scenario personally. We get a weak open, we come down and we support test 389 and change. Okay, strong move up, and we'll probably test this resistance again if that's how it happens. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, people get hyped. Money comes in early. Pre-market comes up a little bit. I do not like a pump in pre-market. I'm not a fan. It almost always means sell off at open. We'll test here, and then we'll test final support here. So in all honesty, unless we get a super soft open right off of 389, I'd probably wait to see if we get a test off 388.19, give or take, right? I would like to see this scenario occur where we hit a little bit of support here. We wait. We're not buying here. We're not buying here. We're waiting. We then come down and we test 388.19. Boom. Oh, Nikki, if you can, just send them to me on Discord if you don't mind, or just write them down and send them to me later. I don't need it right away. Thank you, though. So you're the best. She is the best. I hope you guys know that. That's OG Nikki. She's the best. So if we get a little bit of a support test here, but then we fail, I think this support, if it holds up, that's our best. That's probably that's our better long-term scenario, but that would say it's scenario 2 for tomorrow. So there's 2 options: either soft open and we get rejected right here at 389 and we boom up, or we dick around right here around 389 and then we come down to about 388 and change, right? So fear comes in the market. Oh my God, we're going down. Calls get destroyed. We buy them. We buy them off 388.19. It's a riskier trade. However, again, if you're not watching the chart, this trade I'm referencing right now is not for you if you can't sit there and watch this trade, because it will require a tight stop. Because if we can't hold 388.19 and we keep coming down, we're going to go to 387.19, and then below that, we're probably going to end up down at about 384. So you need to be very mindful of how you're taking this trade and if you're watching it. That's scenario 2, and I think that it's likely that we see that occur tomorrow. So again, we get somewhat of a push in pre-market, support test fail, and then support test confirmed. Boom. Rest of the day should be upside. Here's scenario 3, which I think is the least likely to occur, but it's always possible. Again, I want you guys to be fully prepared and understand every possible scenario so that you can trade this and make money no matter what happens. And I hope you guys are taking a second to let that sink in. If you're on the stream, you are going into the week with literally every outcome that is, or the highest statistical probability outcomes. You know all two or three of them before it even happens. So if you're still not making money, you need to reach out to me. You need to send me a message. We need to work out your strategy because something is going wrong between A, B, and C that is causing you to lose money. And it's not the end of the world. We're going to fix it. It's often, I'll tell you this, and we'll continue. For the students that I'm working with right now, it is literally just these tiny little problems that lead to thousands in losses a week that don't have to happen. Why? Lack of discipline. I took a YOLO. I overbet. I didn't watch the trade. It's never something that's like, oh man, I'm never going to be able to do this. It's always a simple mistake. The simple mistakes are the ones that cost you the most, but they're the lessons you have to pay. And once you pay them, here's the beauty. You don't have to keep paying them. Again, for those of you that don't know, I was broke, destitute, living in my damn car 6 years ago. Me and my wife bought one of the nice houses I've ever lived in or ever been in my life in July of 2 years ago. Why? Because I finally understood the nature of the game. All I have to do is follow these simple rules. I have to be disciplined. I have to do my homework, and I just have to execute. Less than 20% of your time trading should actually be executing trades. 80 to 90% of that time should be researching the trade, mapping out the price targets. I'm going to put myself on camera here to get the point across. 80 to 90% of your time should be mapping out the trade, doing the research, charting, planning out the trade, especially with options. Less than 20%, 10% at best, really, of your time should be executing trades. You should not be sitting here staring unless you are just unless you're like an Amy and you're just day trade monster and you're just in out, in out, in out, in out. Your time should not be spent that way. For most of you, as I understand you, have known you for a long time, you're not doing that. You're taking some day trades, but it's primarily swings and slower moving trades because you have other stuff going on in your life. So if you're someone that's always thought, well, the stock market isn't for me because I don't have the time, that's bullshit. It's a lie. It's a lie you're telling yourself. You don't have the discipline and you're not willing to do the work. So the cool part about that is all it takes is a simple conscious decision right here, right now. All you have to do is say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to do the work and I'm going to get this done. I need this for my family. I need this for myself. I'm going to make this work. That's all it takes. And from there, then all you do is you say, hey, Quench, here's what's going on. Here's what I need help with. Done. Problems are fixed. You're not going to bring me a problem that I haven't seen before. You're not going to bring me something that just shocks me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to have that problem because none of us are that special. That's just the reality here. None of us are that different. And here's the beauty. None of us have to be that smart. This is more a matter of discipline and execution than anything else. It's more a matter of believing in yourself. In truth, most people just don't believe in themselves. They don't want to believe that it's possible for them to succeed because they've either been told that they're a failure their whole life or events in their life have occurred that said, you know, you suck, you can't do this. Or my favorite one, I'm just not lucky. If you're not lucky, then you're just not putting in the work, man. If you're lucky, you haven't surrounded yourself with people that support you. If you're lucky, you haven't done the work that's required on the inside. You haven't looked at yourself well enough yet. You still can. There's always time. You haven't looked at yourself well enough to find the truth. What is it I really want? What is it I really stand for? What is it I really care about? For a lot of you, it's money, and that's fine. I mean, money is not the solution to your problems. I'll never forget the year I made $1 million first time in my life. I never thought it would occur. Never in a million years. Never did. Guess what? Changed nothing. Changed nothing. Was really no different. There is security that comes with it, but at the end of the day, if it's not coming every year, it's not going to change anything materially. And I've heard from friends of mine that run businesses that make 10, 15 million a year. They told me like after $1 million, it's like it doesn't even do anything. It doesn't change anything. And these are self-made guys. They're not like trust fund kids. There's people I know that has a similar story to me that they didn't have it and then they did because they grinded it out and made it happen. There's a certain amount of inherent capability I think that's required, but most importantly, it's just a matter of being honest with yourself. I know some really dumb people that are very good at this, better than me at this, and I wouldn't consider them, ridiculously intelligent people. I would just say that you know what they are? They're disciplined. So maybe they are really smart. I don't know, but Your life can change the second you're willing to say, I'm ready to change it. I mean, waiting for somebody else to pull that trigger is just not going to happen. And you're here for a reason. You're here because you needed to hear this for whatever reason. I'm here because I needed to say this. You know what? You know what's ironic is because a lot of times I needed to hear from. I need to continue to remind myself of this because I'll slip into the same traps that you guys do because we're no different. I've just been doing this longer, and I've probably paid more expensive lessons. Right? I've told you about the Zoom trade. That was almost 40 grand. Boom, gone in minutes. Gone, never to be seen again. Why? Because I kept sinking money into a trade I knew was a loser, hoping that it wouldn't be. But hope is not something that will make you money in the stock market. I wish I could tell you otherwise, but I cannot. So if you're relying on hope and reversals that aren't on the chart, but they're in your mind, you're watching something just tank. You see all the analyst posts, like you see Amy go, hey, I'm bullish on SPY. You see me go, hey, I'm bullish on SPY. See Lee go, hey, I'm bullish on SPY. Bull goes, hey, I'm bullish on SPY. And you go, well, I think it's coming down. And you don't really have a thesis to justify that. And you're just watching this trade go into oblivion. All you got to do is look in the mirror, man, and say, you know what? I'm sick of doing this to myself. And then it all changes. That little bit of honesty goes the longest way. I'll open up to you for just a second and we'll get back into this. So for like the last couple weeks, I didn't realize how overwhelmed I was, how stressed I was, how like lost even I was in moments. Because for some reason, I was no longer willing to be honest with myself. I don't know why. Shit happens, man. We slip and we forget. We forget how painful it was to be the way we were. We forget how painful it was to watch these losses come in day after day. We forget how painful it is to, strain relationships that matter to us. We forget about all that. And that's okay because we're human, man. It's what happens. It's life. It's just life. The key, and I would say one of the greatest strengths that I've practiced year in, year out, is that the time between suffering and solution decreases. Every time I put myself in a position of pain and suffering, it's less time that it takes me to figure out, oh, I hate this. Why am I doing this? And then it changes. That's it. The time decreases. You're going to lose. You're going to lose money. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to want to punch yourself in the face at times. But as long as it's a little bit better than it was last time, you need to take a step back and understand you're going in the right direction. The direction is everything. I see people taking 20 steps back and being like, I'm crushing it. No, you're not. But on the alternative, I see people that took those 2 steps forward, right? Net positive. And they're like, I suck, man. I'm just not getting anywhere. Those are the people I want on my team because they're actually moving. It's forward progress. They're going in the right direction. So when you're looking at these trades, you're not doing the same thing over and over again. Maybe you're making a mistake, but if you're making a new mistake, then it's time to, I don't know what you believe in, but if you believe in something, hit your knees and say thank you to it. But whatever you believe in, because that's a gift. But the question is, can you see it that way? Are you willing to see it that way? I'll say this and shut up and we'll get into the chart, but faith implies trust, and trust is simply a choice. You just choose it. Even if you don't want to, even if it's not comfortable, even if it doesn't make sense, you choose it. So if you're here and it's still not clicking, then you have yet to make that choice to trust the process. You can go down that road of asking myself, well, why? Why did I do that? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Do you want to do it still? Yes or no? Hit yes to continue. Okay, then it's probably not going to work. Hit no if you'd like to finally feel some relief. Okay, cool. That's all it takes. If you're tired of where you've been, you're tired of where you are, you just have to say it out loud and ask for help from somebody that knows better than you. Sometimes they don't even have to know better than you. They just have to give enough of a shit about you that you finally start giving a shit about yourself. I'll tell you that's the truth. When people care about you, it's a lot easier to care about yourself because guess what? I'm not going to fix your trading. Nikki's not going to fix your trading. Lee's not going to fix your trading. You can fix your trading, and we can walk you through it so that you do it efficiently, quickly, and effectively. But it's all on you. And you can do it. Just to this point, if you haven't done it yet, you've either been unwilling to make the changes, you haven't asked for help, or in a terrible scenario, we've let you down in some way when you did. And if we did, I'm terribly sorry, and I want you to message me directly. I will ensure that no one has dropped the ball from this point on. All I could do is tell you I owe you one, and I'll make it up to you. So discipline is everything. Not even just discipline, just care enough about yourself to make the right decision that helps you. That's it. This is the last thing, and I promise I'll shut up. But I just ask myself in everything I do, is this helping me get to where I want to be in life? If the answer's no, I stop wasting time with it. If you don't want to be underwater, dying because of these bills you have hanging over your head, and you can make money here doing this outside of work, your money can go to work, then this is where you want to be. If you don't care, then this is not where you want to be. It's not going to matter, and you're never going to make it work. All you have to do is choose it. That's it. That is it. Oh, there you go. Somebody said it. Couldn't be more true. When we lack motivation, we must rely on discipline. You're not going to always want to do it. You know how many times I see a trade and I just go, I just want to throw like 10 grand in there and just see what happens. Even though I know it's stupid. I want to do that all the time because I want to feel something. Because I use trading, right? I chase. It's a high. It's a rush. Same reason people gamble. Same reason there's gamblers and obviously gambling's addictive. This is addictive too. If there isn't discipline, if there is not structure, then we are just gambling. And we are no better than everyone who lost millions and billions and millions and billions of dollars over the last 2 years. And I don't want that to be me. And I don't want that to be you. So let's keep it simple, man. If your trades are not winning, let's figure out why. Because you're pulling the trigger, you're making the mistake. It's not a condemnation. It's often quite simple. It's something very, very, very simple. So get help from one of us. And if you're not in the Discord, the link's below. We will help you. I don't give a shit if you're new, don't buy anything. Don't buy premium. Don't buy any of that. I don't want you to do any of that. I want you to sit in the free section. I want you to take the free classes. I want you to extract as much value as you can from all the free stuff we give. Because I'll tell you right now, we give better free stuff than most people do paid. And I'm proud of that. That's what makes me most proud to be here. Use all that, make some money, and then let's talk. I don't ever want anyone to feel sold, or I don't give a shit if you give us $1 or not. We're going to help you if you reach out for help. That's just the truth. That's how we are. It's the way we are. So I'm glad you're here. So in taking all that into consideration, which I'm sorry, that was a lot. I'm also working on not cussing as much. For those of you that are listening to this with kids, I'm sorry. I'm working on that. It's just so ingrained in me. I'm trying my best not to do it as much because I want this to be something that you don't have to be worried about listening to with other people. So if that's got you in any hot water, I apologize. And that's something that I'm keeping at the top of my mind. I'm working on that. So we've got the SPY. We just talked a little bit about trading psychology. We talked a little bit about why trades lose and why traders get beat to death and why the trades continue to compound in losses and never get better. So let's look at a little bit of opportunity to put a little smile on your face. Look at the bright side for just a moment, baby. So we've got the S&P. We've talked about those two scenarios, and now we're going to talk about the third one, which I think is the least likely to occur, but it might. We get a kind of neutral open, and then boom, this thing runs, hits our resistance 394. It messes around there a little bit, and then we get a strong break, probably to about 395. Let's look at our past resistance. I would say it's going to bump its head at the top of this range. Perfect. Yep. Right at the top of this range. So let's call it 396. Because again, remember, we got this gap here. It is pre-market, but again, price has been pretty liquid through this area right here from 394 to 396, meaning that price can move very quickly through that area. It can escalate and de-escalate very quickly. So we need to be on top of that. So this is our scenario number 3, which is a strong bullish move at open. That's calls all day, baby. But I wouldn't jump into this scenario because I don't think it's the most likely to occur. And this one would be the most inherently risky because if you buy calls right here, make sure you look very closely at what I'm showing you on the chart right now. If you buy calls right here, guys, and it breaks down, that's a significant drop down over $2-3 move. Most of you, I just know you, is not to offend you, you're going to hold. Because you heard me say, hey, this is the support. This is the support. So you're going to hold that and you're going to get beat to death. And somehow you're going to blame it on somebody else. But guess what? It will be all on you. So don't let that happen to you. You already know about it. Once you become aware, you then are responsible. That's it. And that's all. Once you become aware, it is then your responsibility. You have now been made aware. You've been put on notice. Nobody to blame if you take that move, and I wouldn't do it. If we open neutral and we bump, even then, I would say this is the scenario that I'm keeping my hands off the trigger because I just don't like it. I can't predict it enough to minimize my risk whilst still offering whilst, I love that word. I can't mitigate my risk enough whilst trying to maximize profit in that scenario. So it's not one I want to mess with. Again, I have my rules. You need to have your rules. I need to follow my rules. You need to follow your rules. That's what makes me good at this now. I would say I have been better. I've been a better trader in the last year, and I've traded the least I've ever traded. Because as you guys know, I've focused very, very intently on those long-term swings. I've focused very intently on those 3 to 14-day swings, which I haven't done as much of because of the volatility we've had in the market. But I promise you, if you're just hanging out waiting for those long terms, dude, stick around. I know they're not every week, and that's on purpose because I'm not going to just spit out terrible trade ideas that are going to maybe lose you. I'm just not doing that. I'm going to bet the farm on the best trades with the highest win probability that are going to make us money. You saw me do it with NVIDIA. You saw me do it with Netflix. You watched me do it for the past 3 years. You just got to trust in that you're going to get that trade that's going to cover, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for the next couple of months. Boom, done. I want those to be minimal effort. I want the juice you get from that, baby, is going to be worth the squeeze. NVIDIA was, my first entry was high on NVIDIA. It was up there. That trade still netted 340%. The second buy, most of you, as I understand it, bought that second buy around $4, $5, $6. You made 1,000% if you're still holding it now. It's up 1,000%. That NVIDIA options trade is up 1,000%. Let that sink in. That was a $400 contract. So if you only bought one, you made a lot of money. You made almost $4,000 net. $400 risk, $4,000 net profit. $4,000 net profit. Bada bing, bada boom. Get some of that, huh? Get some of that. And we're going to keep having those because I'm telling you right now, I have been so dialed in to my strategy. It has been delightful. And I promise you this, we will continue to have those bangers for the next. We're just going to continue having them. I don't even want to put a timeline on it because I have dialed in my screeners so beautifully. I've dialed in the metrics of each trade that I'm taking. I've dialed in the risk, the reward, the sector, the time, all of it. Those NVIDIA options trades yielded 1,000% for most of you. If you got the worst entry, again, like I did, the worst entry, you're up almost 400%. That one trade paid you $3,000, $4,000. Boom, done. Bada bing, bada boom. It's done. It's done. So the next trade we are going to talk about is in my opinion, one of those bangers that I think is going to just go. But at the very least, here's the beautiful thing. It's the risk reward is so calculated and so wonderful that if it doesn't go, we lose nearly nothing. It's like, I want to say, I think I calculated like 12 to 1 reward to risk or 1 to 12 risk reward. It's going to be a beauty. It's going to be a banger. This is the time. It is 7:40. For those of you that type new in the chat, we're going to give some stuff away. Bump this chat real quick. Just throw a bump in there in the comments. For those of you that are new, I just want to make sure you're still here because I'm only going to pick from somebody who's stuck around. We are going to be giving away a 1-month free membership valued about $100, so $100 worth of free stuff. You're going to have access to all the alerts. You're going to have access to all the education and the community, which is the best part. So make sure you type that in the chat right now. If you're new and you're not already in the Discord, in the premium alert section, type new. Bump it up, baby. And please hit the like on this video. The YouTube algo hates our guts, and we never get that play. You know what I'm saying? You get them idiots out there telling you garbage that are losing you money. So for those of you that are new, Justin, you're still here. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do Justin. You got it. You were the first one. So Nikki, get him. Can you get him squared away? Justin, can you drop your email address in the chat, buddy, or join the Discord, message OG Nikki. And this snowflake, I was gonna say that man, he ain't new, but he is nude, and I love that. And I'm gonna pick right here 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. EE Marketing TV, you're number 2. So drop your email in the chat, and we will shoot you a message. We'll shoot you an email giving you the credentials to pick up your free membership. But for those of you that are also new, drop your email in the chat and I will send you something. I'll send you a special treat. We got a 40% off for your first month. I want to get you guys squared away, get you set up. At the very least, get in the Discord for free because there's tons of free stuff in there. It's going to make you a stupid amount of money. I just want to make sure you guys have access to all the trade ideas. We send out the daily watch list, the daily day trade hot list. If you're not in that, make sure you get it. It slaps every day. It's basically our 5 best picks for day trades. It gives you the price that it needs to break over to become an active day trade. It gives you the price targets, gives you the stop loss. You have everything you need going into the trading day. So if you don't have it, make sure you get in there. Drop your email. If you're new and you're not in the Discord, drop your email in the comments here. It's the only way we're going to be able to send you that. Someone drop the Discord link for me too in there with the HTTPS so they can click it. Hey, Stephen baby, I didn't forget about you, man. I didn't forget about you. How could I with that headshot? Look at this handsome bastard. You got that real estate headshot. I can't forget that. Come on now. So let's answer Steve's question real quick. If it hits support as predicted in scenario 1 or 2, do we buy calls at 394 strike, higher, lower? 0 TTE. So 0 DTE, no thanks. I want to get rid of that. I'm so tired of that. I hate when I see you guys talking 0 DTE, meaning same day expiration. Unless you've been doing this for years, and I mean years, I'm talking you've been day trading for years, and you are just a force to be reckoned with. I would not ever, ever, ever be taking 0 DTE day trades. I would not be taking same day expiration day trades. Your risk to reward is always out of whack. The theta, which is the time decay on that contract, guys, it is literally wiping away your profits, even if it's going to the upside. You need to realize that. Liquidity dumps can happen on those same days, wherein, guess what? You're up 200%, but no one will buy the contract from you. What happens then? You won, and then you can't sell. And you're screwed. And if you can't exercise it and they can't, I don't even know what happens there. If you haven't been trading for damn near a decade with continued success, I would not take zero day expiration options. I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. It never has been, and nor will it ever be. So disclaimer now that that's out there. So to answer Steven's question, so what we are going to look for, these are our 2 scenarios. For those of you that missed it, we're going to talk through the 2 scenarios on the SPY that I think are most likely, and that will make you the most money is a neutral open, support bounce, and a boom. Okay, that's number 1. That's best case scenario. We're going to draw the other one right on top of it. We're going to make it a different color. Option number 2, which is going to be more of a sea foam, is we get a little pump in pre-market, support test, bottom support test, and then we're up for the rest of the day or up a little bit and consolidate. Option 1, option 2. In both of these scenarios, I really want you to focus on watching this 389.08 price point because I really think the smart move here is waiting until you see pickup, meaning we bounce off support and then start to move up, or you wait until we break down and we retest 388.19. I think that's the smartest play. Why? Because then you're not exposed to an extreme amount of downside. Now, if you're willing to stomach the risk, meaning you buy off the support bounce at 389 and then it comes down to 388, and you can stomach that and watch very, very carefully, because again, if we break down below 388 and change, guys, these are dead. These are done. These are dead in the water. And we're going to discuss the bear scenario after this. This is the Bulls chat. The bear scenario is coming up next. Another new guy. Welcome, James. Welcome, my friend. We're going to do one more giveaway at the end of the stream, so make sure you stick around. That'll be about a half hour from now. We're going to be giving away some more free stuff. If you're new, type new in the chat. If you're from the Discord, type your Discord username. I need a break from talking for a second, so let's get a quick let's get a red or green. Red or green this week. Let's see in the chat. Drop it, red or green. I want to see you guys start fluttering. Do you know how much that hypes me up and gets me going, just makes me want to keep going, keep going, keep going? When you guys pump that in the chat and I see it just blasting, there's honestly not many things that make me feel better than that. And it's not about how I feel, but it's kind of exciting. And honestly, the more hyped you get me, the longer I stick around, the more information we cover, and the better we all are. So it's kind of in your best interest. So we got a lot of red, I see. Red, green, green, green. Okay. We got a lifetime of this green. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Snowflake got them Crocs. Come on now. You got to represent them lifetimes, man. So for those of you that were red, was this a one-time thing or has it been consistent? Either type one time or all the time. And was it one trade? Actually, forget the first question. Was it one trade that killed you, or was it your overall portfolio and overall trades? Was it one trade? That's what I want to know. Was it one trade? Because for most traders, guys, one bad trade is often the reason they're red for the whole week. Let that sink in for a minute. For most traders I talk to, one bad trade. I'm going to go to the big screen for this. For most traders I talk to, when they say, hey, I was red for the week, it was one trade. They were green the whole week. One trade did it. So what does that tell me? Risk reward is so out of whack, it's not even funny. One bad trade should never turn you red for the entire week. It just shouldn't. If it is, that's a problem. You don't have a problem winning, you have a problem with risk management. Because you can win 10 trades and lose one, but if that one trade wipes out those losses, what are they for? What does it matter? Again, risk management and contingency is everything, guys. If you don't have chips to push in the pot, you're not going to ever win one. At the end of the day, this is more a matter of preserving capital, managing risk than anything else. It's not about winning. The only way to win this game is to be able to play the long game by still being in it. In order to win, you got to stay in the game. If you can't stay in the game because you're constantly running out of money, because you're wiping out your profits and then wiping out all the capital you have to throw at a trade, you're not going to make it until you just make a decision to stop doing that. Simple as that. Who was red on NVIDIA? Free my grandma. Man, how was you red on NVIDIA? We nailed that one, man. We crushed it. We pounded it out. All right, we're going to get you on your way. We're going to get you squared away. So, those are two scenarios. Let's talk bears. So Patrick can get all bricked up and get excited, Mr. Bear Boy. Mr. Bear Boy. Patrick, where you at, man? Man, for some reason lately, the Doug theme song just keeps popping in my head. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, there he is. Let's zoom in on him. Look at him there. You're muted, guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, huh? Now his camera's
What up?
What's up, buddy? How you living?
Good, man. How you been?
I popped you in there. I didn't even tell you.
Mike, is there an echo? Am I good?
You're good. So
Oh,
why
nice.
are you Mr. Bear today? Why are you Mr. Bear?
What's going on, brother? A long time.
It has been. I heard
Well, man, I'm always bearish, but I really think that this I think this news that's coming up with Trump is going to make some very volatile market.
You think so? You think so? Can you hear me?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Man, there's like a crazy delay on my end. So I apologize from going if it's taking a little bit. But yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, can you hear me?
I'd be interested to see that. Yeah, I can hear you. So would you agree with these price levels? 388, 389.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that we have a lot more potential to go further south. To be honest with you, a lot more potential. I don't. I think we might start off green, like a Monday, possibly even a Tuesday. But if there is an indictment for Trump, or it's just going to shake people's confidence in the system, and I think we could definitely see some more downside.
Hey, can you jump on from your phone? Can you jump on from your phone? Because you do have some sort of wicked delay.
Yeah, just give me a second.
All right.
I'm going to jump off, and I'll jump on in just 2 seconds.
Bye. Get out of here. Get out of here, dude. Just booted him, man. Got to get him out of here. Can't have that. Can't have that going on. So we'll bring Mr. Jerome Powell's boyfriend back to talk his bearish scenarios here in just a moment. But I think, yeah, it is Pookie, and I know that's you. I know that's you on that other YouTube account. I know it's you. So yeah, it is. So personally, those were our bull scenarios. Let's talk bears. Let's talk bears. Let's talk bears. So if we break down below 388.19, I think it's very, very likely I'm gonna draw these red, just so it's very likely that we go down. I would say 384 is like a good day, but again, as Patrick said, and he did highlight something very important. If this Trump news does come down bigly, this could be disastrous for the market. I don't recall ever trading through a U.S. president getting arrested. Or former U.S. president getting arrested, but I imagine that it's probably not the best PR. Tommy, welcome, my friend. Stick around to the end of the stream because you will be in the lotto to win some free stuff. You've returned.
I have. Is that better?
And now you're in real time. Thank Christ. It was really difficult talking to you before.
I figured technology out. It's no big deal.
Yeah. So I was just saying that I do think that should a U.S. president get indicted, then this would be bad stuff. I think all around. I haven't traded through this happening yet. Unfortunately, I wasn't alive when Dick Nixon got indicted, which I wished I would have been because that guy seems like a cartoon. So I would have liked to have seen him in person. But I do think that it would be disastrous for the market. I mean, just kind of on the back of the SBB news and all that other nonsense. I also was looking at this the other day in terms of volume flow, and I would kind of suppose that what we saw in terms of sell side on Friday was anticipation thereof.
For sure, 100%. And I think it's important to people. This is definitely one of those situations where you want to take your emotions out of it. I mean, politics is always going to be very emotionally charged. This isn't one of those times where you go, oh, well, I love Trump, so I want to be bearish, or, oh, I hate Trump, so I'm going to be bullish. Take your emotions out of it and just look at what's going on.
Love your money. Just love your money.
Absolutely. If the world's and it sounds like you're modifying your language, so I will as well. But if the world's going to caca, let's make some money off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Who cares what's going on? Like, love Trump, hate Trump, whatever. We know that he's a market influencer. Maybe not as much as he used to, but disregard the person and look at the institution of politics. Look what it says to the U.S. government if a former president gets arrested. I mean, we're going to make some money, guys. We're going to make a lot of money. I'm bearish on it. That being said, even if I'm bearish on it, now I know you aren't into zero DTEs. You do have to be very skilled to consistently trade them, but I love trading SPX in a zero DTE. I take on that kind of risk myself. This kind of volatility and this kind of news is prime for that stuff. So I think personally, probably a little sideways, maybe a little green Monday with Tuesday leading into the week red. That's my thinking.
All right. Dude, you know what I just realized? Trump was the first influencer to become president.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he sure was.
Hey, what
Reagan would be, actually, because he was like a Hollywood. Yeah.
So if you're an influencer with a dream, just know that it's possible.
President Quench. I'm into it. I like it.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
I don't know if I'd care enough, though.
Then you would be the perfect president.
I would be great. Hey, you said it. You said it. You said it. I didn't say it. You said it. Would I be a good president? Probably. I will say this.
The best.
I do feel like I'm objective enough. Enough.
So real quick, if we're looking at Trump news, I was just talking to Lee, Mr. Shotlock Prophet, the other day. If we're looking at Trump news, we should always remember what we see that runs or dumps with Trump. Good news for Trump. Then we see fun. We see Mark. We see Rumble. We see these DWAC. We see those run. If Trump has bad news, we see them also plummet typically. If there are riots, if there are protests that are on a larger scale, look at security companies. It was like DGLY. Lee was talking about that one. That one typically runs pretty well. So keep an eye out on those things. That's how I'd like to trade, guys. I mean, I'm not as great as Amy, as Quench, as Lee with reading the charts, but trading's cyclical. Trading's all a pattern, and we know what's happened in the past can definitely repeat itself. So last time there was a lot of riots, a lot of protests. We saw DGLY run. When Trump has positive news, DWAC, which is his Truth Social aspect, that pumps. I mean, those are things we got to keep an eye out for, guys.
Dude, I will never forget. I'll never forget. We were about a year in, so some of you may remember this. Dad went a bit too deep on spot calls because we had some news. He was going to speak. Every time the man spoke, the market just went,
100%
gone. And then some treasury nonsense came out, and his thing got like derailed. And this was on a Friday. These were Monday expiration. Here's another one for you kids on why you don't trade like 1 day expiration. I put 10 grand on the line because I had made so much that whole week trading boom, 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 boom. I was like, you know what? Instead of just taking these stupid $1,000 positions that have made me money 5 days in a row,
let's go with the sure thing.
$10,000 position. Why not? And eradicate all those gains. So I take it. This is at like 2:40 Central. This is at 3:40 Eastern. It's like 20 minutes before the market closes.
Right.
He's on. Market starts pumping. I'm just thinking about how rich I am and rich I'm going to be, and I'm just crushing it. I had somebody at my house who was trying to talk to me about something, and I was just watching this trade, completely ignoring them, and they were seeing it, and they were going nuts. And then, boom, down goes Frazier. Whatever that treasury news was or whatever, like, hey, we're not going to print money anymore. Sorry, we just wanted to let you know 2 minutes before the market closed.
Surprise.
Down 83%.
Jesus Christ.
I was down to about, what is it, like 2 grand. Okay. 2 grand out of 10. And then Monday, he comes and rises from the ashes and he says, let's pump this again. I'm like an hour into the market. Boom. Those things go back.
You're still holding them?
Oh, yeah, I was still holding them. So
yeah,
all
you're 80% down, right?
All weekend, I was just contemplating, do I want to be alive anymore? I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't tell my wife. I was just like silent, sitting in my office like for the whole weekend. I didn't want to talk to anyone because like nobody wants to go tell their wife, hey, I just lost 10 grand being an idiot. And I'm sorry.
Patty, don't listen to this.
And it's gone. And basically, dude, the Phoenix from the ashes. I don't know how it happened. I was up like $130. Boom, done. I was out. They ran.
You know what that is, though? You got rewarded for a bad behavior, which is awesome. But I mean, so did you were chasing that dragon. Did you learn from it, or did you keep going at it?
Oh yeah. I didn't take a 10K position like that again until I lost the 40K on Zoom about a year later.
You know, that reminds me of the Russian war. I actually took calls right before the Russia-Ukraine conflict started because I was like, no, this is all Russian saber rattling. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And then they announced that, hey, we are going to go to war. They invaded, and my calls just dumped out of nowhere. I was like 90% down, like you. And I was like, whatever. I guess I'm an idiot. I'm worthless. And then the market rallied off of that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. James, I just popped the link in there. You were asking that question. I popped the link in there. You can just go to pbalerts.com and see those. Just click products. But yeah, dude, it's been, there have been some brutal market turns. And like, here's the thing, guys, for those of you that are maybe have only been doing this a year or two, you were literally trading through I would argue is the most, and this is from a good friend who's been doing this for 20 years, right? So far longer than I, almost as long as I've been alive, he's been doing this. He said that these markets are the most difficult he's ever had to trade because no one's ever traded, global war, right? Supply chain destruction, political upheaval across the board, both in-house and externally, right? In the U.S. and outside the U.S. Pandemic. Don't forget that one. And then infinite money printing, like just like money's free, why not print some more? And amongst other things, right?
And it's just
Housing
constant
crisis.
shifting on it too. I mean, just constant shifting on it. I mean, one day one day it's beautiful. The next day it's south. At 2 p.m. the market's green as hell. At 2:30 everything's going on. I mean, it's tough out there. It really is, especially for those that even started around COVID time, because it was easy. It was easy mode, and it tricked a lot of people. So you're absolutely right, man.
It was Minecraft
But
peaceful
people that
mode.
stick it out though, and stick it out and make it through. And I mean, I don't mean stick it out and stay red or stay majorly green. I mean, guys that had some losses and just stuck it out and are just keep going to go through it. They're going to be so much better suited to be cold-blooded traders in the future.
Oh,
Truly.
that's who will be rich. I mean, look at what happened, guys, in 08. That's where real wealth was born, in my opinion. Those that bet the farm and dove in and struggled and suffered and learned and learned and learned until they prospered, those are the richest people I know, at least, and the richest people that you've probably seen in the media.
That's what Buffett does.
I would argue that if you're dealing with this right now, so say we fall into a 3 to 12 month recession, right, that plays out over the next 3 to 12 months, those who are still hanging around at the end of that are in for immense upside. And I guess that is kind of a segue into something I did want to talk about. Both Jay and myself, I know, I don't know if anybody else, I'm sure Amy Lee did, but I damn well know that we done told you when it broke above that, we had that rebound snap and then we broke above 22. I never take these off my chart because I want to know if I was right or not. But at about 22K, we were talking about that rebound here on Bitcoin. I'm not saying it's going yet because we've got this long-term descending resistance that we have to climb above, which is around 30 to 35K. But once we do, therein lies your opportunity for crypto exposure. I would not chase the altcoin. I would not get into any of that nonsense if you're not extremely versed in crypto. I would just trade the Regulus, trade the Ethereums, trade the Bitcoin, and maybe a handful of others. But as far as long-term exposure, this is something that it's not even about belief. It's just seeing what supply and demand does to this thing and trending its and then mapping its cycles. As you can see here, it's got those. Here's my thing with Bitcoin. People keep talking about this 4-year cycle, 4-year cycle. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, what is it, Moore's law? Is that the law about technology that it just continues to scale at an escalating pace until like the factorial becomes infinite, so much so that technology is just evolving and escalating? Like we've grown more technologically as a civilization in the last 10 years than we did the previous 100. So basically, I think Bitcoin, being that it is technology, will follow suit with that, where I think these cycles will become shorter and shorter and shorter. And I don't think there are many left, because I think that length of time is going to diminish so much so that if you miss the ride, you miss the ride. Because Bitcoin, supply and demand, anything that's a complete function of supply and demand is much like a bucket. So imagine in your mind a bucket right now, guys. There's only so much water you can fill that bucket up with. It can only reach a certain level before it simply spills over and you have found max liquidity, right? Meaning there's not going to be as much price discovery. It just won't happen. You see it with a lot of those mega cap stocks that trade around $300-400 and they stay there forever because there's really nowhere else for it to go. So Bitcoin, at a certain point, imagine that bucket. Right now, I would argue that we've got that bucket filled up about a third. That's what I'd say personally.
About where?
It's filled about a third, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a great crypto trader. And so, I mean, Titan is where Titan and talking to Amy and all this is where I started figuring this stuff out. I 110% agree with you. I'm not as savvy with this stuff, but just I'm into the cycles and I'm into just price history. And I mean, I absolutely agree. I mean, that's just where we're headed.
I'm 3/8, man. Jesus, get out of here, man. But yeah, that's how I'd like to think about that. I think that's probably the easiest way to like really think about and understand the supply and demand function of Bitcoin. Just understand that bucket is roughly about a third full right now, meaning that you want to start putting some water into it at different points in time if you're going to hold it long term, because it is just by default going to continue to fill. So by default is going to continue to grow, and by default the supply is diminishing, and thus as long as demand stays stagnant, even that's what I like about it. Demand merely has to maintain same. Because of the diminishing supply, it will drive price up. So now if demand just disappears off the table, then it's a different story. but I don't think it will. And I think that Bitcoin has, just like AMC, just like all that stuff did, it's a hope, it's a belief in something greater, right? A brighter future. And
But
whether
it's
it
more,
becomes that or not,
more
I
than
don't
just
care.
that, because AMC is just a hope, or just a hype. Bitcoin is a utility. I mean, full-on governments are. I mean, they're not doing so hot with it at the moment, or they would be doing better.
Well, they're not buying AMC. I'll tell you that much
for sure. Full-on governments
Hey
are
guys, so
adopting.
we're gonna lever our assets against AMC. That would be all. I just would love to see that. That guy I feel so bad, dude. When that scumbag CEO is like, "Look, guy, we're in it together." You know what I mean? It's like when you're like, for those of you that like, if you were in high school, right, and you were drinking. I don't know if anybody had like a friend whose dad always kind of like tried to hang out. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, like the dad that's like, "Yeah, well, Bush Light, what are we drinking?
I'm a cool dad.
It's cool, man. It's lit. It's lit." You know, and it's like just so awkward. That's what that guy is to me. Is like,
I say lit. Is that not lit anymore?
I don't know. It wasn't when I was younger. I mean, I was like the old guy saying that lit was stupid. But I remember when people started saying stuff was fire, I used to dog on everybody.
I say fire.
And then
also, you're not answering me with confidence. These are all slangs that I still use.
Too much later, dude. I just was saying it because like you're stoner is what it is. But yeah, I think that's how that guy is, man. He's just like, he's the old guy at the party that's like trying to like, "Oh, we're all in it together." Dude, between his compensation and stock sales, he's already made what? North of 50 million minimum. So all he's got to do is pump that bad boy up on you guys and continue to dump liquidity into everybody, because that's all they really want at the end of the day is liquidity. And so, like, just know that going into it. Like, I don't want to get into all that. And I was like, "Well, you're a shill." I'm like, "Okay, man, cool. Yeah, I work for a hedge fund. That's why I'm here doing this on a Sunday night. If I worked for a hedge fund, surprise, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be making a couple $1,000,000 a year, and I would not be working on a Sunday. Let's just be honest about that." But I think that hope, though, I think it underpins what is happening with a lot of the crypto and with a lot of Bitcoin, and most importantly, what I think they've done from a marketing perspective. Not they or intentionally, but what I think crypto has that other things do not is community and a cause and a purpose, which I think is going to continue to become. I mean, that's why we're here, right? Like, without that, it wouldn't have lasted. There's so many trading discords, servers that are dead now. Why? Because they didn't ever foster community. So I don't know. I think that's one to watch. Now, to be mindful of time here, I got one I want you to look at right now. Baba, what you thinking? Because look at this bad boy, man. I see it. I like it. I want in. I'm interested. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what it's doing later. I want to know if it's free, because I want to hang out.
Screen. Where are we sitting?
We're looking at Baba, man.
I know. What's the price? I can't tell.
It's price right at close on Friday was 81.67. So if you remember when we were trading it before, we kept trading this support bounce at about $87. We traded it up to 124, and then we traded it up to 121 the last time. So it's been a good rinse repeat trade. I think that it's gearing up so long as it holds, and I'll mark this for you guys. This is one that you should definitely map out in your chart. Make a note here on that thicker line. So again, to find points of confluence, right? You look back to like 314, give or take. I'll make this full screen, get rid of us. 314, right? We had resistance touch right there. So couldn't break over that. We had a strong close there. Then we came down, no touch here. But more importantly, huge support pickup, bullish engulfing right here, right at our line. And then support, resistance, 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 support, support, resistance, and now again, support. I would argue that it's basically, I think that this is a brilliant trade because the amount of risk you have to take for the reward is next to none. Basically, if it drops below, call it 77 and change, you're losing $3, but your upside is 120 plus.
Easy. I mean, I think a low target in the short term is right around 95 to 100, and in the short term, as long as China stays bullish. But I could easily see 145, 146, that range easy soon. And when I say soon, I mean on the grand scheme of things. I don't always love trading China stocks, but Bob,
that's the only thing I don't like. That's the only part of this I don't like, is that element. I like the business they're in. I like the vertical. I like everything about it, but the fact that it's got the China politics all over it.
100%.
There's no bueno.
So I usually wait till I see yen or yang kind of moving, and that's when I start looking at BABA again.
I like that.
Yeah.
Which one's which?
Yen is the bull ETF. Yang is the bear. Yin and yang, homie.
That's really, I like that they did that. I'm not gonna lie.
I trade those very often. I mean, those are both ones that we've gotten easy 1,000%ers and multiple times in the.
You said Yin Tech.
Yen, YINN. It's the 3 times leveraged bull ETF.
This one looks like there's a buyout cooking right now. Like this thing's about to rev back up, whatever that is, yen. So, oh yeah, not very bullish. We got a little bit of volume coming in, but not much. But we did have big boy buys. Big boy buys. When is that? The 18th. See that? Big boy buys.
When? The 18th?
The 18th. Look at that big old green boy.
Yeah, that's a hawker.
It reminds me of Austin Powers. You know, that rocket that the Dr. Eva built?
Yeah, the one that looks exactly like the one Bezos took up.
I know.
Dude,
oh my God. Identical. You know he did that on purpose. Like, I think he did it subconsciously. And he he just sat there looking at that rocket going, hey, you want to see my, like, he's at dinner with people, you know what I mean? It's like casual dinner, like, hey, Jeff, let's go to Applebee's. And it's like, okay, cool. Not that he'd ever go to Applebee's, but there's on a casual dinner. He goes, hey,
you don't know. The man,
you guys want to,
might like him.
You guys want to come see my rocket? Hey, hey,
well, they can keep an eye out on.
Hey, pull the car around. They're going to come see the rocket. Babe. They're going to go see the rocket.
Cool. Elon likes it. One thing to keep an eye on with yen, guys. Again, like, so yen, yang, these are things that I love trading. Keep an eye out for it because China is going to be going and sitting down with Russia here. They're having a summit pretty soon where they're going to be signing on some more sanction thing or whatever. They're basically establishing a further alliance between the two of them. It's more of another saber rattling and a performance piece to show the world and mainly America that China backs Russia. But that's absolutely going to cause some volatility in China's market. If we see bearish sentiment, which I believe that we will see yen go down. We will see yang go up. If you're one of those people that are like, yen puts it too expensive, look at yang calls. But this is how I like to trade these leveraged ETFs. I look at major current events and catalysts, and that is the next one that's happening in China right now. And I think it's this week or the week following. They will be in Russia. The president, Xi Jinping, will be in Russia talking with Putin. It's going to be a big mover.
I heard Putin was dying. What do you think about that? Speculate. Heard Putin was dying. He's on the way out.
God, I hope so, dude. I hope so.
So I gotta go. I don't want to get Epsteined.
Wait, blink twice and Putin's behind you.
Putin, you sound like a cool guy. So I didn't say that. I don't know who this guy is. I don't even know why I'm here. No, but I did. I've seen reports that his health was dwindling, and I wonder how that'll impact. I mean, look at the future of Russia. I mean, what if?
God, dude,
the Russian people are tired of it.
Please open RSX back up. I have so much RSX that is just sitting there. I can't touch it.
Oh, that's tough. That's
tough. I easily got $1,000 there that just sits there. I mean, way more than that, but my wife's standing.
What was the support line for? Okay, let's go back to Babakwa. So I would put it right there, guys. So about 80, call it 80. So if you took, I put the alert out the other day. I think I did an after hours. I think I put my stop below this, right around this wick right here, because I think that's going to be a real clear indicator. I mean, if you want to take a little extra risk, you could do like 75, below 75 as a stop. But the reason I don't like that is because like the likelihood of testing like 60, 58, 60 bucks is extremely high. So like there's no reason to take all that extra risk. I'd rather wait 30 days for a wash sale to clear and then just buy back in again if it continues down there. This is all about managing risk efficiently and making the most of our money and putting it to work in the most efficient fashion. Because, hey, this trade doesn't pay out. Guess what? There's 5 others that will, and you don't want to have all your money tied up and be completely unable to take them because you hoped, you prayed, you wished, and you most importantly didn't listen to the information we put out there. So I would say that around 80, the buys I did this week, I grabbed, actually, it was quite delightful on Friday. I was able to scoop up about $81 on the dot. First buy, which is good. I like seeing this little gap fill down here. Again, they cleared it already, but I like seeing these gaps close. I like seeing a little consolidation when we have these gaps, because then you know that it's filling up that price discovery and price flow there, that so we're not going to get washed out through the downside. So the reason that I'm telling you to be very concerned is, like, we got another gap right here. If you zoom in right here. So this was back in the 28th of November. We got a gap down to $75, and there's like very spotty trading in between here. So the likelihood of this coming down to 73 is extremely high. So I would 1,000,000,000% do not take this unless you have a stop in place. And I think buying down here to open up this range, you could take a nice 10% swing up to our first resistance, about $87. I think that'd be an easy trade. But most likely, if you could see right here, I'm going to circle it for you. As you could see back in January, we had an easy just slam right up gap. And it closed again through that gap here, which shows that like price moves very quickly from like $88 all the way back up to 100. So you want to keep that in mind and keep that dialed in, because if we get a break strong to the bullish side over 87, I think the likelihood of us clearing that gap all the way up to 100 is extremely high. I'm not loading up options right now. I'm simply buying equities. I'll fill you in a little more on that next week, but I really think that equities is a play right here in terms of managing risk effectively. Unless you're going to buy 100 and sell a call against it, I guess you could do that. It's always an option, but for most people, they're not shelling out 10 grand a trade. So I wanted to keep this simple, keep it focused on equities, manage our risk, and make a nice, 10 to 20% trade here over the next couple of weeks. Oh, that yin is delisted. Yin Tech that I brought up, so never mind. But can we just take a look at Warner Brothers here? So I was wrong, because I thought that we were going to hold at like 10, $11. God, I wish I would have bought down to $8. I am so regretful that I didn't, because I just had a feeling about this stupid, I don't know what it is. I just had a feeling, and it pushed back up to 16. That would have been a nice 100% banger, but I didn't do it. So you win some, you lose some. NVIDIA, this one is hopefully going to come down, because Daddy's got a short open to protect myself, and I got roasted on Friday. I didn't lose much, but I lost probably 30% of my 300 and something percent gain on that short as it continued to push up to a new high. But I'm really hoping that it'll come down here and settle around 250. I'll close that short for a profit. I'll still be up about 300% on the few I have remaining, and we can continue to flush that trade out. We had a great ascending wedge here that just broke out and exploded. We traded this one perfectly, guys, all the way down from, I think Lee was trading at 130, 140. I was not, but I think he was. We were trading it from about 170 up. So a nice nearly $100 move on this bad boy. Where'd you go? Now you're back. Now you're gone. Now you're back.
Yeah, the Russians keep coming in and getting me.
They do. They're just kissing you right on the mouth. Scary.
Well, I mean, I don't want to kiss and tell about it. Guys.
I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give away the ending to the Lifetime movie they make about your murder.
Lifetime? You're gonna do me like that? Come on, man.
And no offense, dude, but I'm not in charge of the production. I'm just gonna hopefully sell the rights to the film.
Straight to TV.
Wife some money. Just tell your wife if there are rights, I'll negotiate on her behalf. I don't want anything. I've just always wanted to negotiate a production deal. Sounds fun. So, what do you got? What are you watching? What's it? What's the it? What's gonna make you money? What's your 3-month? I want this. I crave it. It's gonna make me money. I love it.
Well, I'm definitely not. Well, now I'm keeping an eye out on Baba. I normally don't trade Baba. If I do trade China stocks, it will be Baba or Neo, but I usually don't like them. I mainly into the ETFs, but I definitely am keeping an eye on Yin and Yang for that summit that China and Russia are having, which is this week. I just double checked. And honestly, right now, what I'm looking at is DWAC, Fun, Mark, and Rumble. Those are the 4 Trump stocks. None of them are doing well right now. But anytime Trump gets into the news, they are going to make a heavy move in one way or the other. The
What's the ticker for Rumble?
RUM.
Is rum? Mm-hmm. So those 3, are these the 3?
Mark, Rum, DWAC, and Fun. PHUN.
Mark, my son. My son.
How's he doing?
He's not doing well.
Sick.
Not doing well. Oh, my kid is actually sick, but then my other son, Mark, is not doing well. He's not trading very well.
Look at those cycles, though. Look at that.
I know. I got to get rid of this. That's the problem, is it gets stuck on there. Dude, what's crazy is this one, we made so much money that I just kept a bunch of shares because why not? And they're down like an egregious amount.
Jeez.
I remember when we traded this from 30 cents to God knows what. That was Lee. Lee found this one. But the first push, so 30 no, Mark. Did it go to $80? No, it didn't.
Did it?
No, it didn't. That had to be before reverse split. 34.
Probably.
There we go. 34. We traded that first one 30 cents to $34. I know it's at 10,000%. I cashed out before $34, but it was a wild one.
These are definitely ones that you don't want to hold on to long term. I mean, either on a if you're in options, I mean the IV spikes are just nuts on them. But if you're in equity, and me personally, these aren't ones that I would like to hold on to long term. I mean, look at all those people that bought DWAC up.
I know.
I saw a lot of people get burned like that. Where was it? Where was it?
Yeah, so this one, guys, just like full disclosure, don't unless you're just like in and out, like buy this at $1.03, stop below $1 and let it run. If that Trump news comes in, if it doesn't, then I would just ignore it because it's not going to happen. That's like a huge risk I would just not be willing to take. So I would really keep an eye on that. So one that we were trading, a small cap that I actually like here, is Open, OPEN, is a significant institutional interest, and we've got a pretty stable bottom here at about $1. We traded this one very well. If you're following the alert, it was a perfect support bounce there off like $1.09. This thing's back up at $1.60. It has to break here. That's the only problem, is it's been really struggling to get above this mark here. Above $1.70, and this thing is going to go to probably 230 and on. And I think that there's actually a good amount. I mean, the institutional interest alone, I think that there could be some longevity here, guys, and I would keep a very close eye on that.
I can see that 350, 360 with enough volume.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, if you go to the weekly, look at this thing, man. It's going beaten to nothing. But I think, like, honestly, like $4 or $5 wouldn't be out of the.
They've got 71% of institutional holdings. They got a strong buy rating for the most part too. I mean, I like that. I like that quite a bit, actually. These are things that I like to do. I mean, guys, people see on Facebook or Reddit or even the Discord when we're posting our profits, options, and they're fun. But I mean, I'm all about so much equity. I mean, Lee's rest and retire posts have made me so much money, and now I'm keeping an eye on things like this. I mean, these are things that I like. Just start planting little seeds.
Yeah, and so look at this buy side coming in here, guys. Like, that's the important. So again, look, we're looking at the weekly chart. So take a second to think about that. And it's not some nonsense like, hey, we're looking at the 5-minute chart and it's bullish now. It's just most of these idiots on YouTube. That's what they do. We're looking at the weekly chart. I want longevity here on these kind of swings. Like, realistically, I want to make minimum 30%, but really I'd like to see like 100, 150% on these like small cap swings, or what's the point? And we got pretty significant resistance here at about $2. Once we get above $2, I mean, there's nothing holding us back from hitting 3. And once it hits 3, then we could see stair step. And I think the previous range, it was holding at about 573, just above. Actually, bring that up a little bit. Call it $7 and above. Traded there for quite a while, a number of months. And I think that it could easily end up there again with the institutional holdings alone, the buy ratings. I mean, everything is tuned up on this to look good. It's except for the price, current price. So there's a big difference between finding value where others are not looking and buying a bad deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is another thing that will trade off of public sentiment with the real estate market. And I keep saying this because I'm terrible at guessing, guys. I'm so bad at guessing, but I am good at making a plan. And these are things that I look at making a plan on. And say it's tech for real estate. We know right now real estate is it's not beautiful, but it's not like crashing. But a lot of people are very scared right now of getting involved in buying another home and investing in any real estate stuff. But again, what Quench was saying earlier, I mean, it's almost a cliche thing to say for any long-term traders, buy when people are afraid. I'm not saying rush on anything, but I mean, these are good levels right now. I can see it going to 360. And if the real estate market starts to boom back up to where we saw it a year and a half, 2 years ago, which when the rates start to drop, it will, in my opinion, you're going to wish that you were holding on to this. So I'm setting seeds right now on it for sure.
Just a quick note, Alejandro asked about puts for NVIDIA and what level. I do not like any right now on that chart. The risk reward isn't there to take. If you want to day trade it, go by all means, but I don't like a swing put position right now, especially not on that behemoth. We are long on it already. I'm referring to the short that I currently have to hedge the position. Okay, just to manage risk. I'm not trading downside. I'm just trying to manage risk. So I would play that very carefully. I really wouldn't play that at all. I think there's far better trades. I'll put it that way.
I agree, but real quick, I totally agree with you, but real quick, when you're looking at these things, so I don't think that NVIDIA puts would be a great idea right now either. But if you were interested in possibly taking something like that, NVIDIA is trading at like 250, 257. What is trading in the same channel as NVIDIA, but is going to be about 50% or over 50% cheaper? AMD. So if you really feel like NVIDIA or that tech sector is going to start coming down, which again, I wouldn't bet on it, start looking at other things that trade in the same channel that might be more affordable for you. So like, I don't suggest doing this, but I would look at an AMD play if it was going to be more in your budget, if you were into that.
Yeah, seconded. So basically, if your overall thesis is tech is coming down, then that's what you do. But if you're not confident in that, then I would just stay away at this point, because I think there are tons of other opportunities. Someone did also ask about one I wanted to look at, Lucid. That one was a disappointment for everyone involved. Their cars are actually pretty cool. I looked at them.
They're really neat.
This one though is interesting, and I would hate to tell you without looking it up. Let's see what is the institutional accumulation here. Has there been interest, and has there been buy-in
like
from
70%?
Oh, well, okay. Institutional price targets, recent downgrades in the previous 2 months. B of A put it down to $10, and then Paribas just put it from outperform to neutral. Citigroup resumed to buy in January, but $12 price target. So that would insinuate about 50% minimum upside, more likely 100% upside. If you're buying into all that nonsense about Apple buying them, I would not trade on that personally. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't do that. I don't think that's a smart move. It's just too many moving pieces to account for and to speculate upon. But we did recently cross back over into what I'd consider is going to be downtrend for a short period of time, unless you get support pickup right here, it holds and buyers come in with like vigor and strength. But we just priced in a new low. We didn't really close above this previous range, which was bottoming out at about $17, which means we hit our heads at 1783. If we would have moved up to like $25 and then came back down to 18, I'd say, hey, we're still going. We're still going to go. But we didn't. We've got long-standing resistance here that has yet to be broken. If you just look at that right there, sell side is taken over. We broke above it, failed, came back down, hit heads again. Now, for this to trade sideways for a little while, that would give me a little more optimism. And should it trade sideways for a little while, then I would start to consider maybe it's time to take a position when we start holding steadily at like $9, $8.59, like right in the body of this big green boy here with all this volume. But this tells me that this is a trader's dream, because look at this. Look at all that buy side. Why did the sell side immediately come in and match it? Because it's traders.
Yeah.
It's traders. You got to know that.
Earnings is like a month and a half for them, and I probably won't touch anything until I see something, until I see what earnings looks like. I was much more hopeful for Lucid early on, and they're not doing anything. It's like another Rivian play.
Yeah, the EV thing is, look, I'm still long term. I think there's stuff there, but especially as they push towards essentially outlawing gas vehicles, it's just, you got to keep in mind that, like, okay, so Ford, GMs, they were all behind the times, but you got to remember they already have a customer base.
Yeah.
All they have to do is produce the vehicle, license the tech, hire someone to build it. It's not the craziest thing in the world. That's all they have to do. And boom, they start eating. Another thing to keep in mind, I love Tesla. I'm long on it. I've made a lot of money on it. but their market share will likely diminish. What they do have that's very important is that they are a software and technology company. If they can push their software, autonomous driving, and basically their whole ecosystem into every one of these cars, I think they can drastically change the type of business they are and move from car production to a SaaS company, which would be brilliant. Elon Musk should pay me for that tip. I think that would be the most brilliant play that they could take is become a third-party provider for everyone who's already selling cars and has been for 40 years.
100%.
Right? Because I want Tesla tech. The car's cool. It's got some cool features. It's interesting. It's new, but that new is wearing off. It's just wearing off. But the belief is still there for the people that believe in that mission. So if you believe in that mission, then bet on the long game overall, bet on the car industry overall, because they're going to continue to adopt and adapt. And honestly, I don't think they're going to do it without increasing their margin. I think they're going to make more on these EVs than they ever did on gas vehicles. Personally, I think it's not going to be good for the end consumer.
Amy and I were just talking about that. And for those that don't know, Amy is the Tesla queen. I'm sure everybody knows, but we were just talking about that not that long ago. I mean, it's the beauty of Tesla was that they were new, they were shiny, and of course they had a very charismatic front man. Now that charismatic front man is looking like less and less of a sure thing, so Tesla gets beat up quite a bit. But if they started shifting into more infrastructure and charging, and then become a resource for everybody else, God, it would just be the smartest thing that they could possibly do. I mean, just make sure that you have a continual revenue stream. And guys, we're not coming up with anything, inspirational. I'm sure this is something that they talk about quite a bit. So if they were to set up getting to charging and making that infrastructure available to everybody and then charging them for it, that would be money maker, 100%.
Produce the car tech, produce the batteries, produce the charging, produce the software support. Boom, done. Multi-trillion-dollar business.
Hire us.
Become the Amazon of cars.
Hire us.
Snug in the middle of all of it.
But Twitter's more important right now, I guess.
That's the problem. Shifted focus. I go through that too. It's the same thing. If you're running a few businesses and you start spreading your attention, unless you have like the most unbelievable team in place, which I do, You're going to be screwed. You're going to be screwed. You just are, because a lot of the belief is in him. Now he's not the one in the room coding the tech. You could believe that all you want, but he's not.
It's just like Steve Jobs 20 years ago.
Exactly. He's a hype man. He's the best hype man of all time. He's focused.
Absolutely.
Laser focused. That's the difference between him and Steve. Steve had one vision.
Yeah.
Elon has 5, which is cool.
The problem with Elon also is we can get in this all day. The more and more Elon talks and spreads his vision. I mean, I love his SpaceX idea. I truly do. But the more and more he talks, the more and more it exposes himself as perhaps not the genius that a lot of people thought that he once was. And that's the problem with having a company that thrives or dies on such a charismatic front man. So if he was wiser, and who the hell am I saying this? I'm a plumber. He's the world's richest man. But in my opinion, if he was wiser, he would do a little less talking and just get back to the basics.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So, all right, 8:30. We're gonna do one more giveaway here in a minute for those of you that are new. Again, bump that thread one more time. If you're new, just type new in the chat, and you're gonna win some stuff. I'm gonna try to get through 1 or 2 more questions, and then we are going to get on out of here. For my wife murders me. He gets killed by the Russians, and I get killed by my wife. But it's all possible here. Someone asked about Apple pushing above 160. I do want to see that chart. Wow, that is very good.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
They have strength. That's just, dude. Tim Cook, man, got to give it to him. Got to give it to Steve. He made that happen. Tim Cook was the right man for the job. They really heralded Apple through, and basically understand it. I mean, Apple's expanded into payment process. Like, dude, they're taking a piece of the pie. They built the system that everyone has to use. All roads lead through them. 3% or whatever it is of every transaction coming through the App Store. It's genius. It's brilliant. It's amazing. And everyone is so reliant upon them that there's no other option.
Yeah.
In the U.S. There is globally, because Apple is the U.S. It's not global. But, U.S. and China. But even then, I think there's more Android in China probably than iPhone, iOS. But
it is what's cheating. I've been listening to. I spend a lot of my time listening to podcasts like Business Wars, which talks about how these have behemoths get into it, and it was all about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and how he made it so successful. And it's exactly what you're saying, what we said Tesla should do. He made himself not just a computer company, not just a phone company. You need them now. There's never going away. You need it. Everybody relies on them. That's where the money is. I could easily see this over 160.
Yeah,
no problem.
And I would say that once it breaks 156 here, or call it 157, I think it's just going to consolidate for a little while because this market's just too choppy overall. There's just too much madness going on right now. But if we consolidate this a bit, you can see that Apple's been on the warpath for a number of years. I would argue that they have one of the healthiest charts of any company you look at. And basically what that tells you is that they have shown they have swayed institutional interest time and time again. But most importantly, look at that support pickup right there. It dwindled a little bit, but look at that support pickup. So previous resistance, long-term resistance. So we're talking down to about 2016 to 2020, long-term resistance, right? Ascending support now. They were trading above it for quite a while. They touched down. They found support. Buyers came in, picked back up, not in strength, but they were there. I'd say RSI is pretty healthy. I'd like to see a move above 157 and a little consolidation. And then I say you trade Apple leaps and just watch this thing continue to run.
What I like about Apple so much, again, not based off of their charts, but I love trading SPY. A lot of people don't really understand how SPY, the S&P, is made up. It's over 26% of the S&P's holdings are tech. Out of that, which is a huge amount, out of that 26%, Apple makes up 7% of that. 7% makes up overall 7% of the Apple makes up 7% of S&P's holdings altogether, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but that is massive for one company. 7% of SPY is held by Apple. I'm saying that wrong, but you get it. So we only need to look at SPY to see how Apple's going to perform. And on the flip side, if we see that Apple starts getting tanked, SPY is coming down. We see Apple's pushing up, SPY is going up. And that's why I love Apple specifically for this. It trades exactly like how SPY is going to be moving. And I think it's awesome. I think it's very easy to track when you're looking at QQQ or SPY for Apple.
It front runs it. So that's what he's saying. He said it backwards, but
yeah.
7% of the S&P is Apple stock, which means that the S&P effectively holds a very large amount of Apple stock in the index.
That's massive, a massive amount.
Massive. So look for Apple to front run the SPY. We've got a nice little we need to see this little bit of price expansion here. So it's starting to consolidate in this little channel. Look at this tiny little triangle right here. This is what you need to look at right here. This is our nice little springboard here, where if it can continue to just squeeze, and then once it pops over 157 and continues on this upper trend line here, so this thicker boy right here, we want to see it continue along this upper trend line, which it's already above, and then I would say that you could start aiming for 175 plus. Yeah. And I would take those. That's one of the leaps that's on my list because this is kind of my next point of confluence target is about 175, looking at about mid 2024, early 2024. So we'll be looking at about a year out in expiration. I think we'll definitely hit it. We'll make a couple 100%. We'll be on our way. We'll be fat, rich, happy, and healthy.
I'd say if the market's bullish, I'd say shorter than a year.
Definitely, dude. Look at these moves. I mean, it goes 123, 147, $20 move, $20 move, $20, $25 move, and that's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Yeah. So less than 2 months.
Yeah, short-term target for me, 170, then 175. If the market stays very bullish, I'd say a year. Yeah, I'd say a year is probably a good term. 200.
Okay, and so just to wrap this up, so Alejandro asked if the SPY company follows SPY, whatever risk you trade the company is to trade SPY. No, so what I was talking about with SPY is that the setup is inherently risky, the third scenario, right? And the other two are inherently less risky because we've mapped out the price targets. I would they're all going to trade independently. What we're saying is if Apple is running, it often will lead the SPY on an overall green day to a higher high than if Apple was not running at all, because there's so much Apple in the S&P. So if Apple starts running, it starts bringing up the price of the S&P. There's a string tied to both of them, right? So wherever Apple goes, the S&P is going to get either dragged down or dragged up based on where Apple goes. That's what we're saying here.
Yeah.
So,
My name is Prime Patrick because I used to only ever trade Amazon. I'm not as fantastic with reading charts as Amy or Lee, but what I would do all the time and still do is I would wait to see Lee say calls on QQQ, calls on SPY, and I would switch over to calls on Amazon. If I saw them say puts on SPY, puts on QQQ, I'm just getting puts on Amazon. That's what we mean by that.
yeah, and Amazon, I think, is going to trade up into that resistance, and then we'll see what happens. But Amazon, if you're a long-term buyer, I'd say like this is a pretty good channel to buy in. We talked about this last week, buying around $90, and obviously that paid off. You're already up about 10%. I like that as the buy zone. That's why this line is here. That was our demand zone that we were looking at to start accumulating long-term shares. It's what I did. If it's what you did, you also made some money already. I would just keep a close eye on this. We want to see it break above this 103. Again, screenshot this chart. Feel free, because I think that this is our channel here between 86 and 103. If we consolidate here, that's the healthiest thing we could see. I don't want to see this break up real soon. I don't want to see volatility. I want to see consolidation because it's something I believe in long term, even though I hate them.
Me too.
And I hate all that they stand for, but I need to make sure I take care of me and mine.
We gotta take the emotions out. I can't stand Amazon. I can't stand I can't stand them at all. But I will make money off of them all day long.
Yeah. All right. So we got Morton Mousy, my friend. Go ahead and 1, 2. All right. I got you. There's 3, 4. So we got, I think it's Zai or G right here. Sonny's gadget reviews. I'm interested to find out what that's about. I love a good gadget and a good review. And we got James. All right. So go on to the Discord. I'm going to put the link right here. And then you'll see a support section where you can create a support ticket. If you do, we're going to hook you up with something twice as nice, and it feels just right. Join the Discord here. Here's the link. It's discord.gg/pennyboys with an I. Just go there, join the Discord, and then go to that support channel. Just open a ticket, and we're going to take care of you. We're going to get you set up, squared away, and on your journey. And you're going to be trading with us, and you're going to be making some money, my friends. All right, that's it. It's 8:40. I love you. I love Patrick. I'm glad you came.
Too, brother. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to jump on, but it was good. We haven't done this in a bit.
All right. I love y'all. Stay blessed now.
See you guys.